My name is Jennifer Oldham. I am the Vice President of Communications and Partnerships at the Healing Trust. What actually got me to the Healing Trust was a pretty bad case of burnout in a previous role, and it feels like a previous lifetime. I served as a crisis counselor via phone, and I got really burnt out after spending hours and hours of time trying to help people in some of the worst moments of their lives. And so there was a moment where I decided that I needed to do something else, and I wanted to do something that still contributed to the community, but something that was a little bit less on the front lines. And so I had become familiar with the Healing Trust, which at that point was still the Baptist Healing Trust, because the organization I worked for had received a grant from the Healing Trust. And so they had an opening for a very administrative job. It was exactly what I needed at the time. So I started in that role, and over time that led to me learning different things and taking on different things. And here I am in this role today. So when I was a little girl, we didn't have a lot of money. My mom was a single mom for a pretty good while. And there was a year that I probably will never forget. It was a Christmas that I learned that I was one of the kids on the Salvation Army's Angel Tree. And so that particular year, we got like these big bags of toys and clothes and all kinds of things. And I remember asking my mom, like, where did this come from? And she was like, I'm not sure who it came from, but there's somebody in the community who thought this was important and helped to make this happen for you. And so I think that influenced in a lot of ways how I wanted to show up in community and be able to continue to give that experience to someone else. I would tell them and my younger self to not underestimate the value of your presence, of being in a place. And that I think a lot of times, especially when you're young, it can be very easy to feel like you're an imposter and that you don't belong in these spaces and that everyone else has things figured out. But the truth is nobody has any of the things figured out. We're all just kind of guessing and going along with it. And so I think to be confident a little bit more and to understand that even if you feel like the thing you can offer is something that someone else can offer, it's unique to you. The way you do it, your energy, your presence, your spirit, all those things matter. And so just show up and be there. Your presence is valuable. I think I have shown up. I think I've given all of those: time, talent, and treasure. I think I take my own advice in that way and think about the places that I'm invited to and what me being there could mean and could represent. I try to make sure to teach my children the importance of philanthropy and how even small amounts of money can make a big difference, but also that money isn't the only way to give. I try to be in places where I think it's important for me to be. I try to stay connected to community. And then I do also give money because I do think that's important. There are a lot of problems that we could solve with the right intentions, the right will, and a significant amount of dollars. I think in church, I spent a lot of time at church as a teenager in particular. A little bit as a little girl, but a lot of times as a teenager. And so one of the things that stood out to me is when I got into philanthropy as a formal career. At that time, there weren't a lot of nonprofits that were specifically, I would say, designated as being like Black-led nonprofits, but a lot of the work, a lot of the giving, a lot of the generosity, a lot of the taking care of each other was still happening in churches, even in a less formal way. So that's one of the things that stands out to me, that there are often times and ways that we give and support and take care of one another that just don't look like the more formulaic piece of it. And it still matters. In some ways, it matters a whole lot more. I think it means looking at the system that you're entering into and trying to leave it better than how you found it. Like, it's really, for me, thinking about the trajectory of my career. When I started, I had no idea that I would end up where I am eventually, but I do know that I approached it with curiosity, with learning, with trying to figure out, like, why do we do this way? Why does this exist in that way? And I think sometimes in just asking a question, it can spark a thought or an idea that wasn't previously there. So to me, it's really about being wherever you are, but leaving that place better than where it was when you started. Your ideas are good. Try them out, but also seek wise counsel. Not necessarily the shiny person that's getting all the attention, but maybe the quiet leader in the background who has seen a lot of things, who knows a lot about who the actual players are, what actually works, what doesn't work. Make sure you surround yourself with people who will be honest with you and will also encourage you. And you can do it. I am really curious about how philanthropy will meet the moment that we're in. I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to show up in ways because we have different risks than maybe some of our nonprofit partners do, which means we can make bolder statements, do bolder things. So I'm curious about what it will look like, how we will meet the moment, how we will tell these stories, and what role will be in the stories. Will we be the villain? Will we be the partners? Will we be the hero? That's the thing I'm most curious about.